Hi, I'm Dylan.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel, and I'm not quite sure if this is how you say it, but this is Youth on Subjects of the World. Uh,
All
yeah,
right, so today there's gonna be people coming in and out. Oh, that's what she said. But so I think Nathaniel, you're staying on until like about 5, right?
yeah, about 5. I gotta go. So,
And then I think Martin and Neil are gonna show up uh at 5, but I'm gonna be on the whole time.
all right, nice.
So I'm good at making plans. No, just joking.
Yep.
No, but
All right.
I
So,
think
for just letting the audience know, like whoever's watching, yeah, it's been a pretty slow news week, I guess, because like we were just reading off some of the biggest stuff that was going on, and like it's just the usual wildfires, stock market, and Trump, things like that. So
same
nothing
old,
out of
same
the
old.
ordinary. Yep, same old, same old.
hmm Well, Nathaniel, I was talking to Jim earlier. I was listening to this podcast I thought was quite interesting. Is this guy, Peter Schiff. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not heard of him.
Not. Well, it was very interesting. And he's he uh he's like a semi big time libertarian. And his videos are quite interesting. And a lot of his views I really like. Um, but he was on this podcast and he was talking a lot about like minimum wage, which I thought was really interesting. About like not having a minimum wage. Forget, or you and Martin are libertarians, right? I know Martin is.
Yeah, yeah. Martin classified me as a libertarian. Like I'm just like I don't know. I'm just here.
Just
Hi.
there. Yeah. What do you think about the minimum wage?
Minimum wage. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of there. I mean, I get why people are angry when it's low, but I don't know. Just don't really have an opinion on it.
Well,
Just like,
ooh, then I
well,
can enlighten you. So
nice.
I thought it was really interesting. He was talking about just not having a minimum wage at all, which I thought was quite interesting because when you have like a higher minimum wage, it really screws up the economy because it forces people to be paid a certain amount. Like, and you could just have jobs that are not really labor intensive or you don't need to have too many skills and you could just work and not be forced to have to pay someone an incredible amount. Like you shouldn't be paying someone $15 an hour to like stack boxes. Like that would just be
Yeah,
a
yeah,
waste of money. And then that would be
yeah,
the minimum wage. And then I mean that's the whole thing about the living wage is so stupid because like you shouldn't be having a family if you're working at McDonald's. If those are your only skills.
yeah, yeah.
Go to work at McDonald's. Like that's just stupid. Like
Like,
wait until you have enough money to be able to support a family. It's not my
yeah,
fault. You decided to have a family. Like when you're working at Disney World, like you're the one who screwed yourself over.
yeah,
Jesus. And it was really interesting. It was like you could just create more jobs because so at our Sudbury school, we want to hire a new staff member. But it's difficult because the minimum wage is slowly being increased to like $15 an hour, which is somehow like the new number people are making up. $15 an hour for like I think people want like a national thing, which is next level stupid
I, I
because
thought I thought $7 was all right. Like that was okay. Like,
yeah, well, now people are arguing that you can't live off $7 an hour, which is stupid because you shouldn't be
well,
living off
why?
$7.
Well, why are you working at like? I just always see McDonald's as like a sort of job, like
Like
fast
you're
food as more of a job to like just start out with because
yeah, like McDonald's, you're
no one
not
can make a living off
you're
of
you're
it.
only getting paid a little bit, but the thing you're getting out of working at McDonald's is like the ability to understand how having a job works.
Yeah.
Like you have to show up on time, and this is how you get a check, and it's just like the basics of having a job. It's not supposed to be like, oh, this is how I'm gonna live. I'm gonna have an apartment and a house, all just working at McDonald's, being a fry cook. It's like
Yeah. No, like,
you just don't need a lot of skills to be able to flip a hamburger.
yeah, like retail and like grocery stores and fast food, like they just seem like your basic job that you start out with and like just to learn the basics of, yeah, like you
Like I
said, getting
don't
a job and things.
like I would feel like I'm robbing someone if I was being a fry cook and getting paid $15 an hour.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I do so I play that card game Magic the Gathering a lot. And when a new set comes out, the store I like to go to needs products, so they hire me to go and just open up boxes and sort cards. And I feel like shit if they had to pay me $15 an hour for that. I mean, it is all under the table, but I like it. They pay me like $10 an hour. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm robbing someone. It doesn't like anyone can do it. You'd be really stupid and learn how to sort cards. So I feel dumb if I was taking $15 away from them just to stack cards. Like that would be so stupid.
Yeah, like we all do that every day if anyone's ever played a card game. Like,
Yes, it's very easy. And so I think it's so stupid. But back to the point where I was talking about having a staff member, it's like if we wanted to hire a staff member, it would, I mean, we can't pay them that much. We're kind of like a new school and we don't have too much money or students. And so if you raise the minimum wage up to $15 an hour, there's absolutely no way in hell we could hire someone. But we have $10 an hour to spare to give to someone. But now that money is given to no one. Like if we could pay someone $10 an hour, if the government would let us, which is another stupid thing, is forcing the government to tell businesses how much they should have to pay someone. And like at a certain extent, like no one would work at our school for a penny an hour. Like it literally would not be worth your time because if you're working at somewhere for a penny an hour, it means you can literally find no other job that is better than a penny an hour for the work you're doing, which is really stupid. Because I mean, I doubt that. And if that is the best opportunity you have, it must be not that bad of an opportunity. If the economy says making a penny an hour isn't that great, because like it just wouldn't be worth your time to be working for a penny an hour.
yeah,
I mean, just like because working, I'm sure that it has the slightest minute difference on your health. So, like, is it worth the amount of money you'd have to be spending on healthcare?
yeah.
It would just be stupid to work for a penny an hour.
And
But
another thing is like on the topic of Medicare, like things are like really overpriced. Like an IV bag just costs $1, like to the hospital, but like it's really expensive.
yeah, it's just water that's been like cleaned a lot.
Yeah,
That's how bad a bag of saline is. And that is pretty stupid. But that's another thing that's kind of been fucked up by the government. It's like not like healthcare was all that expensive before government and welfare. It's like
yeah,
the only reason that like healthcare is so expensive is because the government promises everyone healthcare. And then I'm not blaming the hospitals. The hospitals like, all right, we have guaranteed money from the government because the government is promising that they'll pay for it. So let's just jack the prices up so that we can make more money. It'd be like me owning McDonald's and the government saying, I will pay everyone to eat McDonald's. Don't worry about it. Of course, a person that's working at McDonald's is going to jack up the prices
yeah,
because why wouldn't they? They're guaranteed money, whoever eats there.
yeah.
And this is also in a world where McDonald's is a complete necessity and you'll die without McDonald's, which is a odd world.
I mean, the fries, I mean,
Fries are pretty
can't really leave without the McDonald's fries.
hmm But it is quite interesting. And that's the same.
Yeah,
What's really interesting that Peter Schiff was talking about, like for healthcare, was that, or not healthcare, college. Is that like college didn't used to be all that expensive, and
yeah,
like the way that politicians got into being voted is like telling these young students that like, oh, we can guarantee you this loan so that you can go to college and guarantee an education. It's like we'll completely guarantee it, and you don't have to worry about paying it down now. And no matter what your financial state is, we'll give you the money. And it's really stupid because like it's not really the college's fault because it's the same reasoning. They're like, oh, well, the government is guaranteeing these kids loans. Let's jack up the prices so that we can make more money. And I'm not blaming the colleges, but it sucks because now the students are the ones that are getting the front end of all this bullshit.
yep,
Like, which is so messed up, like on so many levels. And now it's like now the government is like, oh, now we'll pay your college loans. It's like you made this problem, and
great,
now you're
yeah,
saying that you want to fix it, and that's like your whole thing. Like you're the savior. It would be like
yeah, like,
blowing up a building, like people asking me to blow up a building, And then I'm like, look, guys, all right, I'm going to fix this building. It's going to be great now. But, I want you to be happy because I'm fixing this building, but I blew it up in the first place.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well, I was thinking of, I was gonna say something.
Sorry to cut you off. I was on a
No, it's fine. No. You might have to continue. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
All right. Well, I'm trying to think what else Peter Schiff was talking about. Oh yeah, he went to Occupy Wall
Hey,
Street.
Neil.
Oh, Neil's here.
Yeah.
Neil.
I don't
Neil,
know why.
Neil, are you at a mathnasium?
Well, you're breaking up.
You're breaking up.
Yeah.
I am? Okay, well, okay, you're not breaking up anymore. Am I breaking up still?
No, you're not.
Let me just turn off my video. I don't really need it right now.
Your video's not on.
Yeah.
Oh, well then.
But so Peter Schiff, what got him kind of famous was he had this whole video about Occupy Wall Street, which I thought was really interesting. And it was like it was like after the 2008 crash, and it was like a big protest.
Didn't he go up there and ask?
No, you're breaking up again. No, you're still
Okay,
breaking
I'll
up.
just stop talking right now.
Yeah, stop talking. No, but that was really interesting, the Occupy Wall Street thing. Like, he basically went around and he was just trying to tell the people that he agrees that, that they got screwed by the, well, he was claiming that they didn't really get screwed by Wall Street, but more they got screwed by the government and the Federal Reserve.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he was saying that they shouldn't be protesting Wall Street, they should be protesting Washington and, and the Federal Reserve. Like that they're forcing their anger in the wrong direction. And also got Peter Schiff kind of famous was, and also it's funny to listen to him on podcasts because he's typically on like news, like on CNN and stuff, because he used to go around before the 2008 crash and he was telling everyone that it's going to happen. And he was like the doomsayer. And no one believed him because the economy was just so great. And he was like, no, we're in a bubble. We're all going to get fucked, man. And he was like, he'd be on for like 30 seconds at a time. And it was really funny because in the podcast, he's so used to just doing like sound bites. Like, we're screwed. Everyone's screwed. Invest in gold. Like, do X, Y, and Z. And then he's on the podcast. And I'm like, dude, just chill out. We have 2 hours. Because he's still.
And I'm sure it came off as like, some crazy kook until.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what it was.
Yeah.
And then it came off as, oh wait, the crash of 2008 actually happened, and we were all fucked.
Yeah, and he's saying that there's going to be another one soon. Just coming.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of see that coming.
What's going to cause it? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be the same housing, or is it going to be something else?
I forget what he says is going to cause it.
Is he still saying invest in gold?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty sound investment if you ask me. I mean, gold investing has been pretty much solid for a very long time now, and if you
he actually has this really interesting business, or I don't think he runs it, but I don't know, he talked about it quite a bit where basically it's such an awesome business idea. They give you like a credit card, like it's a regular credit card, but you like when you swipe it, they just transfer gold, so you're able to put all your money into gold. And
yeah, I heard that. I know that.
It's called gold. It's called Gold Money, I think.
Wasn't he advertising that, or he was advertising something else? Sorry.
I think he was advertising that.
He was advertising that. So okay, so you're saying that that's a credit card that basically your account transfers the gold to money directly, and then you spend it.
Like they have vaults all across the world, and whenever you swipe it, they sell that much amount of gold. So you can have all your money in gold, but be able to use it whenever you want.
That's interesting, but
Doesn't that...
you might call it flexible. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, isn't that just what the purpose of paper money was originally?
Yeah, but gold is actually worth something.
Well,
right, but like to what? Like if you...
gold.
Well, to us, it's valuable.
That's
But-
the age-old question. But like gold has always been worth something and always will be worth something. But paper has never been worth as much as gold.
Yeah, but
Like the value,
is
the
right.
value of that small piece of paper and past human society has never been worth whatever $50.
I mean, if you're talking about the material, $100 bill is worth just as much as a $1 bill.
And also gold has many of uses. Like it's in every single phone. I mean, it's used for lots of science. Like it has actual uses.
Yeah, so it's not like
Yeah.
a bubble with just
And it's-
a regular.
And it's rare. Like it's not. There's not an
That's
infinite
rare,
amount
it's
of it.
useful. Like, because either one of those things, if you invest in something that's useful but not rare, you can get kind of screwed because it's just worth almost nothing. And if
Like
you invest-
wood is very useful.
yeah, but it's not
everything.
rare
Not
at
rare.
all. And then you have, well, maybe it will be one day. Well, and then you have things like something that's very rare, maybe not very useful.
It is pretty.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that part of the reason Bitcoin's in a bubble? Because I mean, it is very valuable, each Bitcoin, but
Bitcoin's not worth. It's just made up It's not made up rarity. Bitcoin doesn't have any actual uses. You can't take a Bitcoin and put it into an
it's
iPhone.
not in a bubble. Yeah.
Well, that's the same reason we thought of like paper money as valuable because it was backed up in gold. Then eventually the economy was just
It used
left
to
to
be
float.
It used to be like an IOU, like IOU.
Yeah.
And you could transfer the IOUs to other
Yeah, you
people.
could literally go to the bank
then-
that's
and-
not money in gold.
yeah.
But now
And
they got
then
rid of that.
the Great Depression happened because of people wanting to get their
No, well,
gold back.
They blamed didn't they? I thought they blamed the Great Depression on the
Well, what
fact.
the banks would do is that they would print more money than they
Yeah,
actually
print more money than they actually had.
So it caused a massive crash because everyone wanted their gold back at once, and it basically caused a whole shit show, and the whole system collapsed. So banks are just evil. I think that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, it was really stupid when people bailed out the banks. Like, that's just next level stupid. And people's arguments to that is like, oh, well, if we didn't bail out the banks, many people would have lost their jobs. It's like, oh my God, get over yourself. Like,
Dylan,
these
if you
people-
kill the
But have you
Nazis,
seen-
they'll lose their jobs. If you kill the
No,
Nazis,
but have you
lose their
seen,
jobs
so the
too.
government, when the government did that, their speculation was, if we didn't bail out the banks, unemployment was going to go over 8%. And then look what happened. We bailed out the banks and unemployment goes over 8%. Like, this is just bullshit.
and it has long-term effects, like, the banks being around.
Yeah, the long-term effect is that the banks are still here. Like, at least if we got rid of, at least if we let the banks fail, like, they just
Are you
wouldn't
serious?
be here to cause any more
That
damage.
is so, and people seem to think that, I don't know why, but people seem to think like capitalism caused the crash away. No, it was literally socialism giving money to the banks that caused the crash.
Yeah.
Let the banks wither out and die. Let the free
Yeah.
market handle the banks.
That's why the free market is so great.
I mean, the free market has flaws like everything, but that was not one of them.
No, it is not. No, I mean, if the free market did its thing, then that never would have happened. And it was really funny too when I was like first figuring this all out, but I was still kind of incompetent about it. I knew like this is wrong. I don't know why it's wrong though. Makes any sense. And I was talking to my cousin about it, and she was like, "Oh, Dylan, that just seems like a little bit of bullshit." And I was like, "Maybe," because I didn't really have anything to back it up.
The hard facts like you do now.
Yeah. And then, like, last year at Thanksgiving, she walks over to me. She's like, Dylan, I was listening to this podcast. Do you know how evil the Federal Reserve is? I was like, yes, I do.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Anyone seen the video called Death of the American Dream? I think it was called.
I think I have. What, is it
Oh,
the
I know.
animated? Is it the
Yeah, it's the animated one that talks about the
Yeah,
Federal
yeah.
Reserve.
with Pyle? Is that his name?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's a great
yeah,
video.
pile.
It's so
I love
crazy
that video
too.
so much.
How,
That's what really
how-
opened my eyes.
It's really hilarious too how what's this? What was it? Oh yeah, how they created it. It was like on a dark, like a stormy night, and they said that they were all going on a hunting trip. Like, what is up with this? Dude, that stuff is so messed up, man. Like, I don't. Neil, were you just at Mathnasium?
Yeah.
You are a loser.
I thought it was going to be really, really big because I forgot the shows going on, but it all worked out.
Very nice, Neil. Very nice. Well, but I know that We went on the Federal Reserve before, I think, but that was a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
just won the Federal Reserve again. I mean, that was a while ago. And I think, repeated exposure to things like facts can really help someone, expand their awareness on a topic. That's how you really learn.
yes, I concur. I concur. I was like, that was from, I forget, some movie. But what else is going on? Neil, do you have anything to talk about?
Let me think.
You say no, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, give me a little bit to think. I can probably think of something eventually.
That was the wrong answer. No.
Dang it. As we told the audience earlier, Neil, like today's just a pretty average week. And now even
Yeah.
Neil doesn't know what to talk about. Like,
Something's wrong here, man.
yeah.
Something is fucked up. No, well, I haven't really been doing anything.
Okay, I don't know why, but this is so random, but I kind of want to talk about the Sriracha documentary that Dylan just showed me.
Oh,
And
yes.
how cool it is.
For the
So-
audience, Neil, I slept over at Neil's house last night. And we watched a movie. It was a documentary about Sriracha. Like how
Yes,
they make
it
it.
was amazing.
And it was a very good documentary. And it was all about like the guy that runs it, he's such a fascinating guy and he seems very humble. He's like,
He actually lived in Vietnam. He was ethnically Chinese. So at the end of the Vietnam War, the new communist government was really like opposed to ethnically Chinese people being there, and they really wanted them to kind of leave the country. So he actually left on a immigrant ship called the Hoi Fong, and he actually named the country. It's on every sriracha bottle. Named the company that makes sriracha, Hoi Fong Foods. And also, they do no advertising. It just shows, was saying, if you make a really good product, you don't even really do advertising.
Yeah.
It has like a half cult following, half really mainstream appeal.
yeah, because they have a really great product.
Yeah,
It's not like they're just bullshitting anyone with advertising.
yeah.
'Cause that happens way too much where people just like have these really dumb products, but the advertising is so good.
There really is a lot of truth in the statement that a lot of people make that marketing is just one of the scummiest businesses to be in. I'm not saying you're going if you're in marketing. I'm just saying a lot of times marketing, you have to cheat to get ahead sometimes and say just yes. And it's sad too.
It is true, Neil. Yeah, marketing sucks, man. I don't know too much about it.
Don't get triggered all the marketing mages or whatever in the audience.
Yeah, well, I just want you to know that everyone who's marketing, you suck.
I mean, I think more than anyone, the people, I don't correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I think more people in marketing, there's a lot, I don't remember if this is true or not, but I feel like I heard a story from someone who was in marketing and just talking about how it sucks to be in the business because everyone around you is just so, not like the people, but like the people you're competing with and all that, they're just so scummy. They're willing to do anything. Any little legal loophole, like how much can I lie before it becomes false advertising? Like,
Oh, yes. False advertising is really messed up. And then even if it's like just a slight little lie. You know what false advertising is? Clickbait. Clickbait's so annoying. That's where it goes to sleep. So Martin, what have you been up to?
Martin's here now?
Oh, not Martin. Nathaniel.
Nathaniel,
I was
God,
thinking
you're-
about-
you're-
I was
you
thinking
are
about-
an idiot.
I was thinking about,
I was like really confused.
Yeah, like,
I was like,
I
was-
immediately
in
looked
my-
at the screen and was like, Martin's here?
I was thinking for a second. I was thinking about when Martin is going to be on here. And then
And it was
I
like, Martin's, and then your brain jumped to Martin's here.
yeah. I don't know.
Oh, God, Dylan.
I know, I'm really dumb.
I have done nothing much. I made some friends.
From where?
Yeah, from my church.
I love making friends. I like socialism. I don't know if people don't like socialism. I love socializing. I love socialism.
I love social. That was like, oh my, that was hilarious.
And yeah, anxiety is pretty great, as everyone should know. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's about it.
I agree. No, that actually happened. There's this girl at our school, and we asked her like, "What do you think of socialism?" And she was like,
Oh yeah,
"Well, I like to socialize, so I like it."
yeah. That kind of became a meme.
What?
And it's pretty much.
No, well,
Like,
no, she didn't say I'd like to. She said I like talking to other people.
like, oh my god.
That's how they got so much support for it. People
I
were
was-
confused
I
by
was
the
so-
fact that it's
Yeah,
called
they-
socialism.
I was
This
so
is a false
confused,
advertising.
and then I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I understand." And then I explained it to her, and she was like, "Oh, I really like that." And then I was like, I explained it even more.
You
She's
do
like, "I
know
don't."
it's horribly flawed, right? Like it may work with 10 people, but do you really think it works with like, oh, I don't know, a billion
Several countries.
or 300 million in America? Let's say a billion in India. Well, in China, it's not really. They say it's working, but the only reason China's economy is growing is because they have so-called free economic zones where they literally make capitalism happen in concentrated areas. So it's basically just capitalism, but only for the rich. That sounds like capitalism.
Yeah,
That's-
China is literally like their economy's capitalism, but everything else is like just still socialism and communism,
Basically,
like how
basically.
brutal they are and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of hilarious how religion is because you see like the state-sponsored churches, and then you immediately turn around and you see on the picture of the wall next to Jesus is the picture of the chairman.
Oh,
of the
yep. Like,
Well, what is it?
Like on the picture on the state-sponsored churches, like if you have like Jesus on a picture of Jesus on the wall, right next to Jesus' picture is a picture of the chairman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a picture of Mao Zedong. Like,
Yeah, what are the three
Just
most
like-
read books in the world or something? It's a quotations. It's a Harry Potter, the Holy Bible, and quotations of Chairman Zong. There's another one I think Mao Zedong. Whatever you pronounce his name.
Zedong.
Oh my god, damn it. Shout out to anybody in China that's watching this. Oh wait, there is no one in China watching this because they banned YouTube.
unless there are some hackers that got through,
Shout out to
got
people
through the firewall, but they are cracking down on that. So
Yeah,
probably
anyone
not.
who is watching this from China, you better lock your door.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because you're gonna die.
Shout out
If
to
you-
all the
if-
people using Tor watching this from China.
Yep.
Mhm.
I really like, does anyone else get annoyed when I watch like videos of people like tourists who go to China and like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. And I'm like, oh,
Oh, you know what
have
really pisses
no
me
idea.
The worst thing is when people go to North Korea and do that stuff. That
Oh,
pisses me
yeah.
off no end.
Yeah.
Didn't like you they didn't National Geographic do a thing like where this one guy went skiing there? That pissed me off. That video pissed me off.
You went
And-
skiing there?
Yeah, because they have a ski resort and it's like, oh my god, this is so cool. I'm teaching my instructor how to ski. It's like, there are people dying. And it's just so, and for those of you who don't know why there are all these like peachy documentaries, it's because of a really scummy thing the North Korean government does. So technically the North Korean government, once you get out of there, they can't really charge you for anything you do. Like if you're filming in there, like things they don't want and you're in North Korea, they can do whatever the hell they want to you. Or if you go out of North Korea and you post something or do whatever, they can't stop you. But now they can, because what they do is they make all the companies that do tours in North Korea make everyone sign a contract saying anything you post about North Korea must be perceived as positive. If it's perceived as negative, we will sue you.
North Korea is freaking amazing now.
So it's a horrible, it's like spider web and intricacies of dickishness, basically.
Yeah. They do suck a lot.
So it's bad. I mean, it's pretty good for the upper class and the people in the upper class because so North Korea, despite being quote socialist, which is really really messed up because they have a caste system. And what's more anti-socialist than a caste system?
Neil, can you explain to me what a caste? I always hear it, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
All right, so I'll start off. So the caste system that I know the most is the Indian caste system, which doesn't exist anymore.
So
Kind of does.
is it like people? They have like rankings by what jobs. they
Yeah,
have?
yeah. Basically, you're born into a certain rank. So
I always thought it was just something that
I just thought that people were caste, and that was the caste.
no, not like that. Like people
Yeah.
just made it up depending. It wasn't like something the government made. It was just
So I'll explain India's because in India it used to what happened was there was like a vague caste system in India, like back in the really olden days. But then when England took over India for the empire, they decided in their infinite wisdom of what I like to call the rule of England screws everything up in Asia.
Yes,
They wrote the caste system into law.
they did.
So yes, they did.
So it's an actual. I always just assumed it was something that like it was just like a known thing. It's like,
well,
oh,
a
you're
little
in.
while after I think it's a little while after India.
I didn't know it was something that like people, like the government actually made up. It was like, oh, you are born here, you are in this class. And
It can be that, but a lot of times it is the government. Now, but to be now I think I don't know if it was a little before or a little bit after they were free of the chains of the British Raj. They decided to wait. This is a kind of a stupid ass idea.
Yes, it is. That is really interesting. I don't know. I just always thought it was something that the public made up. It was like, well, like racism. Like racism is essentially made up. It's not like
Yeah.
Where
the
at the top
government.
caste were the Brahmins. The Brahmins were the priests, and they were the biggest whatevers. And then there are a bunch of others. And so at the bottom are the I think it's like street sweepers and cleaners or whatever. No, cleaners or whatever. And then there's actually a subsection of the caste that's completely separated from the rest of the caste system called the Dalits, which are also called the untouchables. Like you should not touch them. Now the Indian,
Really?
they're so low you shouldn't touch them. Now the Indian government has made a bunch of trying to basically stop discrimination against people who are born into quote untouchables thing. So they tried to stop a bunch of that. And to some extent it's working, but of course it's outlawed the caste system. Got rid of that. But obviously discrimination still exists. So yeah. Now the North Korean caste system, I believe, has I think it's only 3 rankings. The top are like the politicians and the elites and close to Kim Jong-un, or I think that's maybe 4. And then I know everyone who lives in Pyongyang is of one of the highest castes.
Really?
So yeah, everyone who lives in Pyongyang is so when you go to Pyongyang, you'll see a bunch of people walking around like, oh, so cool, but they're really just they're no, not slaves. They're living the high life.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
Yep.
Yeah, they are they're the top caste, and I think the only thing other than that is the inner circle of Kim Jong Un is the only thing that's higher, and of course Kim Jong Un himself, because he doesn't poop or pee and he can talk to dolphins. But other than that, I think the next one is the workers, the workers of factories and stuff like that, like blue collar work, I think, or maybe very basic white collar. And then you have.
It was so weird watching this documentary about North Korea. It's this whole news group. It's oh, we're one of the first news groups ever here, but it's completely staged. Everything is staged. Everyone's acting. It was really funny. And they're at this big banquet. You're about to observe one of the biggest banquets in all of North Korea ever, and they're the only people in the entire place.
Oh my, yeah. I watched this Vice documentary in North Korea. It kind of freaked me out because they went to this massive stadium and they were one of they were 3 of 20 people there in this massive stadium with 100,000 people performing. It was insanity. And of course, they all have to flip a bunch of colored boards over to make Kim Jong-un's face and Kim Jong-il's face.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so at the bottom of the cast,
bitches be crazy, man.
Yeah. It's but at the bottom of the cast is just basically the peasants, if you will.
That is interesting.
It's a very fascinating country.
It's an interesting country.
Yeah.
Surprised there has not been a revolution yet. Well, there might be, and we just don't know about it.
Well, there's something interesting. It's called CGP Grey, the Rules of Rulers. And I think so far Kim Jong-un's following it all right because he kills the people that he doesn't need. He keeps the people that he needs and pays them well. And he doesn't waste any money on the citizens. Because let's just be clear here. Starving, uneducated populations don't do revolts.
That is true. Yeah, people don't.
You can watch CGP Grey's Rules for Rulers. It's amazing. And yeah. But I don't know. Maybe he's not following it too well, and soon there's a revolt, in the works.
That would be nice. I loved Brian. So our staff member at me and Neil's school.
Neil and I school, Dylan. Neil
Yeah,
and I school.
whatever. You understand what I'm saying. You don't need me to say it the proper way. That's my rule
I'm
with pretty much all English. Maybe
I'm a
it's
Nazi.
arrogant, but like if you can understand what I'm saying, like
Yeah, I just like to screw with Dylan.
yes, I know. But that's my rule for English. Like that's why I always
Like
Yeah,
just
say
like
it.
as long as
Understand what I'm
like
saying.
just as long as you can understand what I'm saying, like you don't
As
really
long
have
as
to
you understand what
correct
I'm
it.
saying
That's why-
without putting extra
that's why
thought.
that's why I only ever say I spell there only one way. I'm not gonna say there differently.
Like
The
you
only
can tell out of
problem is
context
that
which is
I
it,
feel like
which it
since-
is, and it doesn't matter.
I feel like since Dylan and I and like we're involved in like the alternative education movement, I feel like I have an obligation to try to say things properly so people don't like, haha, he's a dumb educated
Neil
noob.
grandstanding once again.
Grandstanding. What's that again?
Exactly what you're doing right now.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Nah, no. It's like when you just like get to stand on a soapbox if there's one issue you care about. It would be like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It'd be like kind of like social justice warriors grandstanding.
Like about what specifically?
I don't know. Like you could.
Oh, like about one thing they know and just
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Actually,
I just feel like I'm obligated to at least try to use propaganda when talking about like things like cyber-schooling or unschooling. Because I like people like because even though I'm obviously conveying the message, people will find anything they can to try to devalue your points.
Yes, I agree. Especially because it's like, oh, you don't even know how to spell. How could you be telling us what to do?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to convey a message here. I'm not trying to go this way. Because if I wanted to convey a message to the president, I probably would proofread it. But you're not the president, buddy. So,
Yeah, you're just an incompetent.
but that's not gonna win anyone over. So I try to at least follow some basic rules like that.
Mhm. I concur. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I like using proper English. My mom always gets on me like that for not wanting to use proper English. It's like, well,
Can you guys still hear me? I'm wearing headphones right now.
yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Okay, great.
Probably a little bit better too.
Okay, good.
Hear you better. But yeah, like, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, but that cast is not. It's very interesting. I mean, it's not great. Another thing is also really interesting. Like people who don't understand. Like Hitler always seems like the bad guy, which I'm not saying that he's not. He's pretty evil in every single way imaginable.
Stalin,
Stalin-
and Mao
Yeah,
Zedong.
thank you.
That's
I
what
was just saying, Stalin was
Like,
so
yeah.
much worse. Mao
I mean,
Zedong was
Stalin-
so much
Mao
worse.
Zedong, man,
What?
Like
caused a famine because he told everyone to start making steel.
yeah, that was really fucked up. Like people don't understand. Like Mao killed possibly like 100 million people.
Yeah, like
I don't know why people don't get that. It's like I mean, even I didn't really know that, but that's I would blame that more on the school system because essentially told that like, oh well, Hitler's
Not just
horrible.
that. I've seen Dylan and I were talking, and he was saying like you see tattoos of Stalin sometimes, and not really Mao Zedong, but you see tattoos of Stalin and things like that, and like if someone got a tattoo of Hitler, people would freak the fuck out.
Yeah, for good reasoning though. I should add.
Yeah, for good reason. We're not saying you shouldn't freak
Yeah.
out if you see someone get a tattoo of Hitler. It's like, yeah, he's an extremely evil man, but at the same time,
Like
It's,
people don't understand Stalin caused the Ukrainian famine, which most people don't really know about, which killed 6 million people.
Stalin has killed way more people than Hitler. Mao Zedong, what is his death count? Mao Zedong.
just a lot, man.
A
And also,
lot.
like, what's
Possibly-
really sad,
Possibly 100 million.
and like another thing, what's really sad is that now you can't actually go to China to get like the Chinese culture, like to learn about it, because like, does anyone know what the Cultural Revolution was? Like,
No,
during
can
when-
you? I know
So-
about it though.
the Cultural Revolution was like shortly after the communists took over in China. So
Oh, I
they
think I
got
do
rid
know
of,
about this.
and they got rid of, like, they burned down temples, killed a bunch of like,
Who did this now?
yeah, the Communist Party.
That's pretty.
Like they destroyed temples, like a bunch of stuff from Chinese culture.
Quick side note
Like-
here. There's a great YouTube channel called China Uncensored that covers like
Yes,
this stuff about China now.
yes,
Yes.
they're awesome. I love
I
them.
love it. Yeah, I love them. They're so much. They're great.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, you were saying about the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, and like it's just really sad that like you have to go to other like just across the world to learn about the Chinese culture.
I mean,
because
they have
it's
such
just
a
so
long
negative.
history. I'm assuming they have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know anything about it, and it kind of sucks because it's such a long, rich history of, like, just the culture. I'm sure they have, really interesting one, but I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you also the annexation of Tibet, that was
Oh,
a
yeah.
pretty I mean that's
What happened with that?
so I don't know the exact history of it happening. I think I know vaguely the current situation going on there. So China did annex Tibet. Do you know when they did it? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, I watched videos on it, but like I still don't really understand.
Yeah, a lot of
what's
this
going
comes from
on.
China Uncensored. I just love that channel
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, it's a great channel.
Yeah, it's just
What do they
great.
talk about? I've never seen them.
So there's a host, and that guy, it's basically to talk about current news in China and doing things in the world, and basically they give their own like complete like their perspective on it, and with satire too. So
And
it's
like they read like actual articles from the state-run media, and like
Oh,
just
yeah, and it's
listening to it,
hilarious.
it's just ridiculous and like
Because-
just really funny.
the propaganda is just kind of hilarious, and they read it, and
Yeah.
it's just funny.
Like, what type of stuff is so funny?
Like the media of I think it's called, what is it called, the People's News Network. I don't know, but I remember there was I know there was a
I know
specific
there's,
incident with India and China on the was it the Napoleon border? I'm not.
yeah, I think
probably-
so. I think
I might
so.
be butchering that, but there was a whole dispute, and with basically China said this is kind of our territory, and Nepal's like, no, like, yeah, we're pretty sure it is, just randomly. So India's like, well, if they build a road there, that's could be pretty. India and China have hated each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, so there was like a whole debacle of like India sent military to the place where China was trying to build a road, and it would have allowed military development in the area too. So it was just not desirable at all for India or Nepal, obviously, because it was their territory.
Mhm.
But yeah, so when the whole situation resulted basically with like both forces withdrawing, with, I guess if you want to look at who won, I mean technically I guess India won because India wanted them to withdraw and both forces withdrew.
Mhm.
And Nepal won, but but it was kind of a mutual thing. It's so funny because the Indian media, which is not biased at all, because they do have, well, there is not too, there's some like,
Coming
but the
from
point
an
is-
Indian.
but there is
Trust me, it's not biased, man.
but they're basically saying like the Prime Minister Modi, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, was like he totally like tamed the dragon of China, which is like a misrepresentation. But China was saying, China was saying stuff like, oh yeah, we totally won that, and it's like, well, you wanted to build a road there, you didn't build the road, like we totally won that. Attention, everyone in the state media.
So
The
China said that like it was a total success.
Yeah, it was a total
They say
success,
that about
100%.
everything. They
Everything.
say that about everything.
They blamed the whole South China Sea crisis, which is almost 100% China's fault.
Yeah.
I might be a little biased there, but it is a lot of China's fault. They're trying to build military bases and see to be like, well, this is China's land, so therefore this part of the ocean is ours. It's like, well, you built that there on other people's land. It doesn't magically make it your own now. And it's like,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, well, we're totally being peaceful, but just so you know, we have a bunch of fighter jets here, and yeah,
We're using our ships to ram into fishing boats.
yeah, we're using our ships to ram into fishing boats, but don't worry,
Yeah, nothing
it's
but
just not
peaceful
ours.
development here.
Yeah, peaceful development here. And then they go and blame it on the Philippines.
That's
Why the Philippines?
Yeah.
I know.
Like, just nothing against the Philippines, but just like, how would they successfully do something like that, and why?
Yeah, they just like, the Philippines are causing so much trouble in the South China Sea. It's like, wait, what? Why?
Yeah.
And don't mention Taiwan around.
Oh, excuse me.
Don't
You mean
mention
Chinese
Taiwan
Taipei.
as an
You mean Chinese
independent.
Taipei. You're talking about Chinese Taipei, right? What's Taiwan? What's this Taiwan you're speaking of? It's called Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah,
get it right.
I'm sorry. I forgot that Taiwan is apparently a runaway province.
Yes. Taiwan is not a country. It is called Chinese Taipei, and it is part of China.
Or did you hear about the president of Taiwan, like what he said in response to China? He said basically, like, China said it's a runaway province because it never declared independence. But then the president of Taiwan was like, well, first we were and technically still are the Republic of China. So we never really had to declare independence. Like, it was just, I forget what he actually said, but just
That is pretty funny. I know China's really.
So it comes to the awkward situation.
Did you
where-
see that? Did you see that thing where China is trying to make their own islands so that they have rights to the South China Sea?
Yeah, I was just
Yep,
telling you about
yeah,
that. Remember,
yeah.
they make the military things like it's like because the way the so the whole let me try to explain the whole problem with the South China Sea. So the whole South China Sea thing is a dispute of the what is known as the EEZ or EEZ, the exclusive economic zone of each country. So each country, the way maritime law works, is each country has the exclusive zone, which basically, like, I think it's like 7 miles, whoever, there's a certain amount of miles out from land that is the exclusive territory of that country.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, undisputed, no one's going to say anything about it. You must follow the laws of that country when you're in there, except for some loopholes, but who cares about those?
Yeah. They're not.
Then there's the exclusive economic zone, which is basically, it's international waters, but only the country that zone belongs to can, like, mine there, fish there, that kind of things, economic activities. Then there's another zone that I forget. I think it's like a military zone, but whatever, I forget. Then so basically the whole dispute is that the exclusive, or maybe there's another zone, I don't know. So the exclusive economic zone is in the South China Sea. China's exclusive economic zone, a bunch of other exclusive economic zones, they overlap. And the South China Sea is a very valuable trade route. So obviously there's a lot of contention there. So China, being by far the most militarily powerful in the area there, is like you're saying, Dylan, building islands and like saying, well, this is our territory, therefore our exclusive economic zone is this big.
Like,
yours is smaller.
have you seen China's claim on the South China Sea? It's just like
We
miles
own all of it.
away.
Oh, they also
from
own the
mainland.
Indian Ocean. Have you seen that? They also own the Indian Ocean, apparently, according to them.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they just said it. They haven't really done anything, I don't think, but they own the Indian Ocean.
I have a globe here, and I'm just imagining that. Like, yeah, we own all this southern part.
Yeah,
Like,
we just own
nowhere
that.
near China, but that's okay.
That's okay. I just imagine like someone, like a representative of China at like a meeting or something. It's like, well, you're not even close to that. That's okay.
Don't worry about it, guys. We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
That just China being like, oh yeah, we own that territory. It's like it's like Argentina saying, oh yeah, we own part of the Caribbean. Like, how?
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. So I was telling you earlier, Nathaniel, about that guy Peter Schiff.
Yeah.
So his whole thing is that he's a fairly successful businessman, and he's talking about how he moved to Puerto Rico, and so he could get out of paying income tax, and it was really interesting because he was talking about how fucked up Puerto Rico is and the laws
Oh yeah.
that make it so
was-
messed up, and he was basically saying like he's really confused of why people would want to become a state, because like basically when you become a state you get the right to vote, but it's like you basically just get the right to vote to see who taxes you, but they don't have taxes, so it's like completely irrelevant. That's essentially what you're voting for, is like, oh, he taxes me, I guess that's okay. But it doesn't, it's like totally irrelevant why you would want to vote.
I'm pretty sure.
When you're not paying taxes. If you are paying taxes and you're not allowed to vote, that's messed up.
I don't think Puerto Rico meets the economic requirements to become a state currently, right?
Yep, it doesn't, like, by a long
No, it's
shot,
really messed
like-
up because, like, a big reason that is because the U.S. made this law that basically said nothing can be imported there. It has to go to America first, a state first, and then can be shipped back. So
Well, that's debilitating.
if there's a ship that's like from China, we'll just make it up as an example. Let's say there's a ship from China that has to pass Puerto Rico to get to America. They can't give goods to Puerto Rico. They have to stop in America, like they have to stop in Florida, drop the goods there, and then a ship from Florida has to come and bring the goods to Puerto Rico.
Highly driving up the cost of all goods in
because-
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's incredibly stupid.
And like probably not all the goods are there, like when they go back.
So
like,
the Caribbean and the Bahamas specifically, I'm going to be talking about, has the same problem with things like gasoline. Their gas price, because we recently took a cruise there, and we were talking to some people there, and they were saying just how expensive some things are. Like gas was insanely, I don't remember how expensive it was, but by the gallon, it was insanely expensive. Just
Wow.
like because of the fact that it was, I mean, they just had to import almost everything. I mean, their entire economy is tourism. They don't have any hard resources that they make that they build their economy
Yeah.
off of. I mean,
Yeah.
and not that, I mean, they make a lot of money off of tourism, and no wonder why. It's beautiful.
yeah,
It's gorgeous.
It's a pretty nice place.
hmm
A really nice
They
history, too.
They literally make money off of saying, this is a pretty nice place. Want to come here? Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Oh, Dylan, just so you know, I'm actually eating pho right now with sriracha because I saw that sriracha documentary.
Lucky bitch. Oh. Yeah.
What is that?
Hmm?
Mufflin or whatever. What is that like? Or whatever. I don't know what that is.
I don't
Like
know.
just talking in the background.
No, it's like a microphone being. I think it's coming from Dylan. I don't know. Stop
I don't
that.
know. But yeah, it was really messed up. Like, by everything is so expensive in Costa Rica, and it's essentially exclusively the government's fault.
It sounds
Yeah.
like extortion, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's.
I was
actually the
wondering
same-
why exactly Puerto
It's
Rico
actually
wanted
the
to say.
same. It's the same law for Hawaii. Like, if Hawaii wants imported goods, like let's say there's a ship coming from Japan.
But they're part of America.
Yeah, I know. Let's say there's a ship coming from America, or coming from Japan, I should say. It can't stop off in Hawaii and drop stuff up. It has to go to California, and then a ship from California has to come and bring it to Hawaii.
But wouldn't that law doesn't make any sense because you said the law was that it has to come from America, and Hawaii is a state of America, so couldn't it just?
Yeah, I know. It's really, I don't completely understand why.
What? Why?
You're just draining the economy of like California's a bigger economy, all right?
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
economy's massive.
Yeah, but don't
It is
don't
just-
get me wrong. They can't survive on their own without like the U.S. Sorry to all of you who want an independent California, but
Why is
it
that?
just can't survive. Like
'Cause they're
California
far.
gets like I think I read
California-
that like
If California was a country, it would have like the third or the 13th largest GDP, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Something like that.
Isn't that just, that's so funny.
I read somewhere that California like gets half of like all of the stuff it like gets for like the state and stuff like from the U.S. government. So or, like,
That doesn't
make any
the
sense.
US. I don't
Because-
know. I don't know. Just like
What is it?
Because there's a group of states that there's a group of states that has where there's a group of states that pay more to the federal government than they get back in returns. Those would be the states that are completely financially independent. Then there are the states that pay more to pay less to the government than they get back in returns. Those are financially states. The other states that are financially not independent. But California is one of the states that I think by far they pay much more money than they get back. So they're financially independent. So I don't understand. I don't know.
I don't know.
Wasn't there like a plan to make California into like five
Yeah,
separate
I don't.
Probably.
I think. Yeah, California has a lot of movements doing those kinds of things. I know there's one like for old California, new California, create two different states, and like the coastal region would be New California, and like I guess it's just because of a cultural thing. It's like making a new state is not a cultural thing. I may be wrong, but
Yeah.
I think that's what their whole thing was. Like it's a cultural thing. It's like we should not make a new state because of culture. I'm sorry, but that's not valid.
Mhm.
We need to make a new state because of cold hard facts, not just it's culturally different. It's like that's not enough of a reason. But
Like the northern part of Michigan that like now is like across Lake Michigan, like that used like there's a bridge there now, but it used to be separate and like you had to go all the way around in order to get to like the other side of Michigan. That's a good reason to make that little part of their estate, like because
Yeah.
it's so separate from everything.
like geographically, financially, politically, makes some sense. Now culturally, I don't know about culturally, but I don't even know about politically politically. Okay, with the electoral college separating state to via political reasons makes sense. Without the electoral college, it wouldn't make any sense. The reason for that is that if you're a Republican in California, you might as well just not vote in the presidential election because all of California's votes in the electoral college system will go to the Democratic nominee, no matter what the Republican said, because it's basically if one more Democrat votes than a Republican, that the state should vote for that person. The votes won't be split up evenly. No, that would make sense. All the votes
Yeah.
go. So it's a completely disproportional
So-
and stupid system.
The electoral
Yeah.
college is so freaking
It's so freaking stupid.
I
And
felt
Yeah.
like I felt like I was going insane because I was talking to one of my other.
if you are a Republican in California or if you are a Democrat in Texas, just do not vote. It really for the presidential election. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Yeah, you don't. Nothing really happened.
And
Wasting your
people are
time.
complaining about people not voting at all. Like this is why.
It's like we have a horrible system.
I just felt like so. So I was talking to my cousin, and a lot of my cousins. So my mom is one of 8, and she's the youngest of 8. So all my cousins are significantly older than me. And so I was talking to my one cousin, and gosh, so she was talking
Is
about.
she the one who's a nurse or?
No, well, she is a nurse, but a surprising amount of cousins I have that are nurses, and it's
So
not
I'm
really
just
like
talking about another cousin that's a nurse.
yeah, she just happens to be a nurse, but so I was talking to her about the electoral college, and she was like, for the reasons I didn't like it, she didn't like it either, but she was like, I think we should still have it just in case someone like Donald Trump ever comes around, so that we can't.
What the
have
fuck?
idiots like
If we didn't have the electoral college, Donald Trump wouldn't have won.
I was like, she's like, I think we should just have someone to stop if someone really stupid gets in office. I was
Wait,
like,
what the f-
That's-
what? The electoral college is the reason that Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah.
No,
like-
but she was saying that it should be something like the electoral college but like it works so Donald Trump could have never have been elected, even if the Americans wanted
That's not democratic.
I was
So
like, that's
yeah, so no Republican could ever win. Like
This is democracy.
to. Yeah, exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was really confused. I was like, what are you talking about?
like there are plenty of.
I don't
good
think your cousin. I
Republican
don't think that cousin
presidents.
understands how the electoral college works. Then
Yeah, I don't think so
Yeah.
either. It was very confusing, and I tried to explain it to her. I think it worked. Maybe not though.
Hopefully.
But
All right, I have to go. It's 5:00. So see you
alright,
guys.
bye, Nathaniel.
goodbye, Nathaniel.
Bye.
All right, Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
time.
Neil, where did you get pho?
Did you say when or where?
Where? So I can get
From
it
this-
there.
From this place called Fussin. What happened was that I was gonna go to Mathnasium. My mom was gonna go to the orthodontist while I was at Mathnasium with my sister to get something with her retainer fixed or whatever. So so in the plaza that's next to the orthodontist has a Costco in it, and in that plaza with the Costco, we call it the Costco Plaza, there's a place called Fosin, and I really love that place. Or Fussin, sorry. I still call it Pho because I used to always call it Pho, then I realized I was wrong, and now it's called Pho. I think you
Get it
told me
wrong.
that, actually, right?
Yes.
I think you're the one who told me that.
Most
But
likely.
so Fussin, yeah, so my mom got the pho from there to go, and I'm now having it in my residence, and it is very, very good. My favorite pho place, however, is a place in Voorhees, Pho Voorhees, and that place is amazing. And
Is that the one next to the movie theater? Next to AMC.
I don't know. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is. 'Cause it's where
Yes.
your dad, and like after we got Himalayan food.
Correct.
Interesting. I've never been there. There's a
Now,
ramen
just
shop there I went to. I like quite a bit.
so just for everyone who's wondering, so Dylan and I are talking about pho, but let me just have a fun fact about pho. We learned about this in this amazing Sriracha documentary. Was the fact that also Sriracha is pronounced what is it, Sriracha? I don't know.
Sriracha.
Sriracha. It's like it's three full syllables, and you're supposed to say them like very separated. And so, but of course, no one pronounced it like that because people look at you weird if you do that.
For good reason.
Yeah, for good reason. It's like when someone who isn't French pronounces croissant.
Or
It's
it's
like-
like it's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like Italian chefs, and they speak completely normal, and then they're just like, what do they do? They're like, all right, today we're gonna be making some pasta with some regatta. It's like, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I really, it's just weird because when you see people like speaking perfect English, then they break that pronunciation and I mean, okay, so to be clear here, when you see people speaking like in a complete American accent, no deviations whatsoever, then they change it up just for one word. I feel like it just sounds so pretentious. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It is.
It is pretentious. And it's like, if you have an accent, it's like, that makes sense. Even a slight accent, that makes sense. But if you're changing it just for that word, yes, it's technically correct. But it's just a pet peeve. It's irrational, maybe, but it's, I know, I just can't stand it.
It's so annoying. I hate it so much.
It really is. Like, like the thing is, so my family, we took a trip to Europe. We went to France, and we kind of like, so we drove to Italy, and that was really awesome. Also, Italy, if you ever go to Turin, Italy, don't go out after night. Good God, it's kind of shady.
It's pretty funny.
Like, yeah. So we went to this vegan Italian place. It's Italian, it's Italy. We went to this vegan place that was absolutely amazing. So I wanted to order the bruschetta, and so my dad and I were like joking with the waiter. He was really nice, and we went there I think 2 or 3 times, and while we were there, and we were joking with him. He was really nice. And we were saying, like, we were kind of like saying how Americans pronounce different things, and like and he was like, oh no, that's how you pronounce it. So we were saying in America they say bruschetta, and he's like, oh no, it's bruschetta. And I said, so we try to pronounce it and stuff, but the thing is that the problem was that now, like, he wanted to like us to say it that he's like, if he asked, try it, I'll try it, because saying it that way, obviously. But the thing is, the next time, so obviously if he says, so I'll say, like, oh, do you try? I say, obviously I'll say, bruschetta, like, try to say it. But the problem arises next time we went. I wanted my mom to come because it was amazing. And I told her about the whole pronunciation thing, and neither of us wanted to order it because we didn't want to pronounce it wrong or right. So it ended up being just like, my mom just said, we want this, and pointed.
We want this.
We want this. But just because we didn't want to say, it wrong or right.
This is gonna sound a little ignorant, but like, do a lot of people in Italy speak English?
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, but that's my limited perspective. I guess if you want like a hardcore answer, you can go to like Wikipedia.
I've always been curious about that. Like, is it?
I think
common?
in Europe in general, English can be common. Although I don't know if it isn't. I don't know. I think it is.
Only because I've only ever seen in movies. It seems like freaking everyone speaks English, but I'm like, that's almost certainly not true. Because there's no way that everyone.
I mean, as far as I can remember, it was a little while ago, but as far as I remember, I think we didn't have too much trouble at all.
Interesting.
But yeah,
I've always wanted to. Italy seems so interesting, and it's so funny to me too. Like, just living in America, how you can just I'm trying to say, like, if you want to go from like Switzerland or something to Italy, it's only like a 5-hour drive. That's so funny to me.
And that's what we did. We went from Switzerland to Italy.
Yeah, I was just talking when that guy, for the audience at our school, we had this guy visit our school from Switzerland.
Yeah, from Switzerland. And yeah, he's awesome. And I don't know if I told him that. I must have told him that I went to Yeah, we went on that trip because the great thing about going to Europe is that you can just go, especially with the Schengen area, which is the agreement that the European Union has. And even though Switzerland's not part of the European Union, they're part of that agreement. That there's basically literally no border control. It's awesome.
That is really
Like
cool.
you can walk across the border and there's nothing because of the
Seems like-
awesome Schengen
It
area.
seems like, I mean, I highly doubt it, but it seems a little bit like all the countries are different states. Almost like states of America.
Okay, so it's a lot more liberal than that. And because they literally have full-fledged governments as countries, but there is an overall legislative branch where everyone's sent, but I don't think there's any executive, or I don't know if there may be, but I don't think there's any judicial either. I think executive and judicial is held by each country. And I think there's just one legislative branch. I could be so wrong because European Union is very complicated. I believe there's just one like big legislative branch of the EU that makes all the laws that everyone else has to follow.
That is really interesting.
But then there are also amendments to those laws, keeping certain countries from actually having to follow those laws. So it's basically an agreement of what do you want to do? This country you do it, this country you do it, this country you don't do it. It's basically that. But it's more structured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Schengen area is awesome. And the Schengen area combined with the close proximity of all the countries and the size of them makes it very easy to travel through multiple countries while going to Europe. Which is why on our one week, I think it was 1 week trip to Europe, we went to 3 countries because it's that easy in Europe. That's why Europe is such a great place because you can go to multiple places in a very short amount of time simply because of the proximity. America is massive, so you don't have that exact same thing. And of course, the Schengen area doesn't exist. But so when I say Schengen area, I mean, with other countries, not with the States. Obviously, there's nothing. But so yeah, so we went to France, Switzerland, and Italy. I love going to Switzerland because Switzerland is just really, really cool. Like they're such a badass country. I'm sorry, but Switzerland's so badass. Dylan and I get into conversations about how Switzerland's just awesome.
Switzerland is pretty cool.
Like they don't really, because they have everyone's money. Like they have all the rich people's money.
Yeah, it's like, you want to go to war with us? Oh, I lost all your tanks.
Yeah. You want to go to war with us? Oh, sorry. Looks like all of your lobbyists' money just ran out.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic. A helicopter crashed and $10 million of American money was lost. Oh, and would you look at that? Switzerland miraculously found $10 billion randomly and added it to their treasury.
Yeah. Switzerland's freaking hilarious.
Like,
you were saying everything in Switzerland is really expensive, right?
Oh yeah, we went to this one like.
You know why that is?
I don't. I think it's because I looked up the average salary. I think I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like I don't know if the average salary is really high. I don't think it is. I don't know what the whole situation is. How like, but I think it's I don't know if I'm using the right term. Purchasing power parity is, like that's not the right term. I don't think, but how the relative exchange. Like for example, $1 equals like 60 Indian rupees. That's a rough thing. I think the value of the rupee is going up now, so now it's like 58 or maybe it's 68. I don't know. But basically, you're not going to buy like a bag of chips for 1 rupee. You're probably going to buy a bag of chips for like 30 rupees. But if you bought it in America for like 30, like even like if you look at the exchange rate, that's not a direct translation of the monetary value that country has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope everyone can follow that. It's not just the currency. It's how it's.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like if you looked at India's GDP in rupees, it would way out. It would be the biggest probably economy in the world by far, probably. But it's not. It's the fourth. No, it's the 10th biggest economy in the world. Because of the fact that it's not in rupees, you have to translate it to like a currency that you would translate for everything. Then there's a whole thing with purchasing power parity, trying to compare things, and it's a whole shit show. But economics is.
I felt bad. I don't know if you know anything about this, but so for the audience, I've kind of gotten into playing ping pong, It's kind of a loser sport, but it's very fun. And I met this guy there whose name also happens to be Neil and is from India. And he was saying how his family, I think his dad came here, I think for like a heart surgery. His dad needed a heart transplant. And so they came here, but he was saying that there was some law where they had like a lot of property. They owned a bunch of property, but they couldn't reclaim it, or they got like 1/3 of how much it was actually worth.
Really?
hmm
Why?
I don't really know. He was just saying he was kind of pissed about it. Like it was a really fucked up Indian law.
Yeah,
Felt
there
really
can
bad.
be corrupt. There can be a lot of corruption in India. I don't know if it's related to this, but so in India, to get anything done, you have to bribe basically with the government. You have to understand, with the world's biggest democracy and 1 billion people in a democratic society, it's a shit show.
Mhm.
So you really have to get anywhere. You have to basically bribe to get your paperwork through the system. The problem is you're competing with the people that went before you, which is so many. And dear God, the amount of people that bribed, your paperwork is going to be years until it gets through.
Mhm.
But, a little money greases the wheels. So, this is a short, sweet and simple. So by a result, the public sector of India can get really corrupt.
Mhm. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I think India is just very fascinating just because it's so many people and it's also a democracy. I think China's fascinating not because of maybe the amount of people, but the way their government works.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like North Korea is fascinating because, do I need to explain? It's freaking North Korea. They're just
Mhm.
fascinating by default.
Yeah, North Korea is they are crazy.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
They are very fascinating.
Like, I would say there are some redeeming qualities of China because they do have a much lower poverty rate than they did, and they have some good. They have there is a disparity, I think, with economics, but with financial situations, but still they've been able to raise a bunch of people out of poverty and stuff like that. North Korea, I don't know if there are that many redeeming qualities, and I think the ones that there are, like, well, the people in the upper caste live really well lives, good lives. Like, well, compare that to how the other stuff, and I think the cons way outweigh the pros. I think that's the same thing with China, but I think it's to a much, much, much lesser extent.
Mhm. I feel really bad. Or at least China's kind of waking up now, or I don't know if I don't know if the government's waking up, but more so like the people are waking up. And
Yeah,
the people that are starting to care more and more.
it's starting to get impossible to
Because I think
escape the awesome age of information with the internet, even if you're living in a place where the internet is restricted heavily.
Yeah, I think that's what's so cool is like just how natural capitalism is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, capitalism is a very natural process. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
It just happens.
that's what I think that's what's happening in China right now. It's just
Yeah.
people are finally coming to the conclusion that capitalism is the best solution for their problems.
Yeah, and capitalism isn't like the fix to everything. I think like concentrated government spending can help with certain things. Like the government, I don't think is useless as some people like to tout. I think it does a lot of things that it shouldn't. I think it sticks its head in things in places there it shouldn't be. But I think the government does have a place in our society, maybe one of less intervention, but I think a healthy balance is what's important.
Mhm.
And I don't think, let's be clear here, I don't think any country has been able to achieve that. I don't think any country ever will be able to achieve that.
Mhm.
But I think something to strive through, a healthy balance. Now, okay, I don't think I'm making the middle ground, because there's a logical fallacy called the middle ground fallacy, basically saying the right thing has to be the thing in the middle ground. I'm not trying to make that fallacy. I'm just saying I think because of pros and cons of each side, there is a middle ground, not necessarily just the middle ground is good just because it's the middle ground, because that's what the middle ground logical fallacy is.
Mhm. Yeah, I know what you mean. But no, feel bad for China. Well, I guess I don't feel bad. They're doing okay now.
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a bit of people in doing pretty financially well in China. However, where I feel really bad for the street vendors because there's like a special police for street vendors. They just beat the shit out of anyone that disagrees with them.
Really?
hmm
That's pretty fucked up.
It's brutal.
hmm
Oh, and also, any country that's like, any company that's has like over a certain like value has to have like I think it's an advisor from the Communist Party to make sure everything's going well.
Going well.
Quote, going well.
That's basically all of China is just one big mob.
It's basically the mafia.
hmm Pretty much. I mean, I don't know what else you'd call it.
Mm.
Man, I feel bad for them, man. I would not want to live in China. Only because like at least Japan seems like it has a lot of culture. China just seems like it's very blah.
I feel like living in China can be very nice if you have enough, a good amount of money. But the problem with China is that, which, a lot of Chinese people do have now because of a great growth in their GDP and their GDP per capita by consequence. However, I think something that is to be noted is that the internet is extremely limited there.
Yeah, I think I always forget that.
There's a massive Chinese firewall.
hmm
the great firewall of China.
The Great Firewall of China is enormous. Yeah, that sucks. Internet's awesome.
Yeah,
People be hating on the internet, man.
I know. This is one of my biggest. I could talk about this for hours. My pet peeve, one of my biggest pet peeves is not even a pet peeve. One of the biggest things that irritates me no end is when people are like, "Why are you going on the internet, Billy? Why don't you just read a book?" It's like, shut the hell up, all right? You ignoramus. Listen,
Dwight, you ignorant slut.
Dwight, you ignorant slut. For you four people that haven't watched The Office, that was from there. But well, it's funny because that would be a joke if we had more than 4 viewers, but we probably have 1 person watching right now.
Mhm.
Most of the people that watch the show watch afterwards. I think, I don't know, could be wrong, but I'm like 98% sure.
Mhm.
So, yeah, what was I saying before I went on that weird
Talking about
tangent?
The internet pet peeve.
Right. Oh my God, it's not even a pet peeve like I was saying. It's infuriating.
All
The
right.
fact that people, they're like, just go read a book, Johnny. It's like, oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry, but how can a book, a singular, limited, very limited piece of paper with words that are limited to a finite number of pages? What?
hmm
What is this primitive BS compared to the collective human, to the collection of human knowledge? When people think of a book, they think of literature and amazing. That's not all books. There's some pretty shitty books out there. There are some storybooks. 50 Shades of Grey was basically, oh God, I feel like I'm gonna. it was basically just, oh man, I feel like I'm gonna
Porn.
regret saying this. It's just it's Pornhub before Pornhub. It was Pornhub in book form, basically.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not
Why do you
literature.
think so many old white women like reading it, Neil?
Yeah, Johnny, you better not be going on Pornhub. Let me just read 50 Shades of Grey in the bathtub.
Yeah. Let me
But-
get back to Jon Snow.
Oh my God. But so yeah, so it ended up. So I think that we tend to demonize as a society, A, anything that's new, and B, especially different sources of media. Let me elaborate on that. So we tend to demonize any new source of media. Like, for example, when books first came out, they were heavily scrutinized. Like, and this was a long time ago. When the written word was invented and was mainstreamed in schools, a famous philosopher said that the written word makes our children's minds lazy and undisciplined, for they can just read anything and they won't have to go through the art of memorization.
Mhm.
And it's just like, what? This is, now people are telling you must read the written word.
Mhm.
And the written word is awesome. That person was so wrong. Written word is the best.
The spread of information.
Yeah. The best invention of our time, people seem to think it's the internet. I would say it's like second or third. But the best, I think, has got to be the spread of knowledge, written word. Because you go on the internet, what are you reading? Words. Yeah, there are videos too, but videos cannot compare to Wikipedia, which are words. And for you people who say, I can't use Wikipedia as a source, those people are too lazy to scroll down to the bottom where they link their 102 sources for every single page.
Yes.
Like, how lazy do you have to be to not scroll to the bottom of a page and read all the sources? Oh my God, that also makes me really mad. How lazy are you to not scroll to the bottom of the page? Anyways, but so yeah, the internet, and yes, you can do, people love to point this out when I say this, but you can't do productive things on the internet. You can watch stupid things like, well, what do you define as productive? I'm sure how is Harry Potter productive? Like when a kid sits down and says, I've been reading books all day, the immediate response is, oh my God, that's so great. But then you sit and think critically for a second and you realize that the vast majority of those books were most likely storybooks. And that's not a bad thing. People seem to discount the idea of storybooks. I think it really helps your imagination. It's stimulating. It's
books are really interesting. I know my dad, he was telling me about how when he first started to have, well, I was his first kid, but it was like basically if you just read to your child every night, there's almost no chance that they will know how to read. I mean, it's just like a child's mind is so flexible. I mean, that's called?
What do you mean? If you read to your child every night, they'll not learn how to read?
No, they will learn how to read.
Yeah, you said they won't.
Oh, did I? Oh,
yeah, you did. Idiot.
I know I am, Neil. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, I used to. Dylan was my first child. And I used to read to him every night.
That's actually true.
Yeah, Dylan and I are actually just a room apart right now. Dylan, remember to clean the dishes when we're done with this.
That's not true at all. He lives like half an hour away from me.
So, yeah. So and I think that I think there's just so many productive things that you could do on the internet with books. Okay, let me say some pros from books before I start. I'm not really dissing them. I'm just saying the things that some social media do better. Books are awesome. So let me just say, so I think one of the best parts about books is that I think this is the best thing about books. They have been able to capture a story in a way that movies, video games, or anything can not capture. The way they can capture a story and describe every single detail
I think movies
is magical.
Movies be able to describe someone's thoughts.
Yes, and it's very cheesy if they try.
And that's books. That's their greatest advantage is that.
And forget that. Imagine, he walked in and his coat was covered in dust, and there can be a whole page describing someone's coat. Mm-hmm. All right? You cannot do that. In a movie, you can show the coat, but you can't really show the coat as is. Mm-hmm. Like, the books just describe it in this way. And also, how many people does it take to write a book? It can be one. That's awesome. A lot of times it's just one person. Someone can make a detailed, intricate story through a movie. What does it take? Like 1,000 people? You take a book? It takes one person. How awesome is that? That's magical. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to slightly diss books a little bit. I'm just saying what other sources of media do better, not necessarily dissing books. But, so I always tout this video. I love this video on YouTube. It says, what would parents say if they had what would parents like? So if books came out after video games,
hmm
what would they say about the books? Like, because obviously they'd be going after the books instead of the video games because they're the new thing.
hmm
So it was saying that books are a passive experience where the whole experience simply happens to the reader. In video games, you must mix complex hand-eye coordination while trying to comprehend deep storytelling and visual and auditory cues,
hmm
and inspires the imagination and role-playing activity. However, books encourage you to simply sit down with pages close to your face, reading words off a page, letting the story simply happen to you. What a passive and unproductive experience.
hmm
And it,
Totally understand what you mean.
and it's like, yeah, but there are also pros to books. But that's not the point. The point is that they will demonize any source of media that comes on. And it's new. People will make credit challenge anything that's new, and that's not inherently a bad thing. Definitely not. Most certainly not.
People should fear new things now. But I think that's probably
I don't
just
think
a
people should necessarily. I think people should question everything, including new things and old things. I think that's how you can make a society better.
That's probably just a byproduct of evolution. Is like, I mean, things that tend to be new tend to be, kill you. It's like
Yeah,
it's better
like
to be
that's
safe than
evolution.
sorry. Like
Yeah.
you see a spider, the chances that that spider is poisonous is low, but why take the risk? It's not
Yeah,
like you're
why take the
gaining
risk?
anything. Well, I mean, people don't understand that you're gaining something from books or video games.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's scary. Don't touch it. It
Yeah,
has a possibility to be scary.
And we as a species have moved past that point, but our evolution is struggling to keep up with that.
hmm
So we must evolve as a society.
Yes, we shall. We shall fight.
We should and we shall.
hmm Just 'cause people need to get the fuck over being little bitches. People, I mean, it's true though. People just whine about video games. That's
I
like,
know.
especially at our school. I mean, it's not saying that the parents. I mean, I understand. It's an actual.
We go to a Sudbury school, by the way, which is a democratic
Yeah.
school.
It's a
Where people are
voluntary.
free.
It's a fear a lot of people have, and I'm not blaming them for having that fear, but I just think like, you just have to see the facts and the science and people get over it. Like I know
Yeah.
my dad. It was really interesting. Just like my dad has a pretty big fear of flying, and now flying is a very interesting fear because it's rational and irrational at the same time.
I know, right? Because statistically, flying is so much safer than cars and trains and ships. It's just so much safer than anything. However,
It's like
logically speaking, it's like I've seen evidence of gravity my whole life. This plane is bullshit. It's just flying through the air. Like I'm in a tube, 30,000 feet in the air. I'm a human. I'm not a bird. What's going on? The ground's down there. I'm up here. What's going on? When you think about it, we live in a weird world.
hmm
Like we fly way higher than birds ever could in these magical flying tubes.
hmm
Like
It
what the
is.
hell?
It's like it just isn't. That's what I think is so interesting. My dad was talking to we were at like Whole Foods yesterday, and he saw a pilot, and he was asking him because my dad has been trying, like actively trying to get over his fear of flying, and
That's
he was asking him, and
healthy.
he was like, well, you should try. This is what the pilot said. He was like, you should try and get into one of the mini planes and just learn the physics behind it, and how you really it's impossible. It's essentially impossible to fall out of the plane.
Hmm.
You won't fall out, and he's like, so just try and
Like teach your mind the logic rather than just saying there is the logic. Teach your mind the
Yeah.
logic.
because your brain doesn't really understand it. It still thinks it's 30,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think is so interesting about the fear of flying. Because in one aspect it is completely irrational, and another aspect it's like, well, you're not going to fall out.
We're not meant to be up here.
Exactly. Which is really fascinating about flying. But I've never really had a fear of flying. Maybe a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, it's not like nothing. Still a little scary. But,
So Dylan, so do you know when you're going to be able to do what is it called? Commute, whatever, when you can go to Israel?
oh yeah, birthright.
Birthright.
I
Right.
don't know. Probably like next year, I think.
Awesome.
2
I
years.
think that's really cool about Israel. They let anyone of Jewish origin go on
Well, it's-
birthright.
well, actually, Israel doesn't pay for it. It's just really rich Jewish people.
Really, so it's a private thing.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
it's
a public
sponsored.
sector thing.
It's state sponsored.
Hmm.
It is state sponsored, but I think it's, what is it? It's just a way to get Jewish people to live in Israel. That's what it is. It's just so that Israel can get more money.
Okay, all right. This is something that pisses me off. Why does America give Israel so much money?
Dude, I don't know.
It's bull.
We give way too much money to Israel.
Oh, Dylan.
Mhm.
Culture Dusty made a video called Fuck Israel, and it's basically about why we give so much money, how giving money to Israel is BS perpetuated by religion.
What's the answer?
Uh,
For religion. I guess because
I
that is
believe-
the homeland of Jesus.
basically, and it's the fact that like the Jews are kind of like the chosen people, and it's like all BS, and it's also political BS too. Healthy dose of politics and religion. And so Culture Dusty, if you guys don't know, he's a YouTuber that I really like, and he does videos on politics to a lesser extent and religion. I really like him, and he made a video called "Fuck Israel." He's of course to an extent hyperbolic,
Hmm.
but it's you have to be on YouTube to get views.
Yes.
And be entertaining. Being hyperbolic is like the cornerstone of entertainment.
Yeah, but I don't know why he gives so much. It's like
It's bullcrap. Like they need it.
mhm. Israel has a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot, but a good amount. I know. People care way too much about religion.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's give it to Israel. It's the homeland.
Yeah.
And it's really funny too. There's so many like, I don't know what the whole thing is with conservatives loving Israel. I mean,
I know.
I'm sure everyone saw the Sacha Baron Cohen thing. Have you seen that, Neil?
No, what is that?
Oh my God, it is absolutely hilarious. So you know the guy that did Borat?
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah, it's just
Oh my God, he has this whole new sketch. It's a TV show, and he's like
no shit. He is. Oh
he's
man,
an
that's awesome.
Israeli. He got this Republican senator to say that he wants to give guns to 4-year-olds.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Oh my, it is outrageous. He got this guy to say that he wants to give guns to 4-year-olds. He's like, so his whole thing, he's like, so do we want to not give the guns to the teachers? We want to give it to the kids. Train the kids to shoot the terrorists. And like, they get the senator, they hook this thing up where they put a gun, like they have a teddy bear and they put a gun inside the teddy bear. And they show it's like, this is what we're going to do to train the kids. I was like, oh my God. And,
Okay, what's the show called?
I forget. Just look up Sacha Baron Cohen. It's very big on YouTube right now.
Attention, everyone, do that because he's amazing.
He is so, it is hilarious.
Yeah, Borat has come to the point where it's so quotable, it's become unquotable because everyone quotes it.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. How much?
Very nice. How much? I know.
It's
He
like
is
it's like a social experiment, but without the fakery.
Mm-hmm.
The movie both Borat and Bruno, both movies are just massive social experiments.
And it's really interesting too. It's not like they're not like Jackass, because Jackass is like, oh look everyone, it's just
Jackass is kind of just being a jackass and watching people react.
yeah, and it's like to get people to sign their release forms. It's like, oh, this is Johnny Knoxville. Hi, he's really famous. Just sign it now. You were pranked. But Sacha Baron Cohen is not as well known as Johnny Knoxville, and I love the way they stage that. Like, I heard Borat.
Like the people,
guy
the way
who
they
did
do
Sacha
it, the
Baron
way
Cohen.
they
They told the people that it was an actual documentary.
yeah, the way they got people to sign the release is that they said this is an actual documentary, and technically it was a documentary. They marked it as under. I don't know how they did it. Like it was a comedy, I think, mockumentary too,
Mhm.
or whatever. I don't know what was under.
And Neil,
But-
I was watching deleted scenes of Borat,
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was completely outrageous. There's this whole scene. There's this guy. He was walking around a grocery store. He was trying to get people to show him a grocery store, and there was a whole aisle of cheese.
Okay.
And he's asking the guy that runs the store. He's like, "What it is?" Like for each item, he's like, and he's like, "What it is? That's cheese. What it is? That's cheese." And they did that for literally. I'm not even joking. Like, just imagine a whole freezer aisle. It was 20 minutes of him asking, "What it is? Cheese."
Why
was
did no one say anything?
It was half an hour long.
Are you sure that wasn't the scripted one of the scripted parts?
You can watch it. The guy's like getting pissed off at him. 'Cause
Oh my god.
what it is? It is hilarious.
I think the great part about Borat and Bruno is that they integrate the scripted parts with the unscripted parts so like fluidly.
I totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I know his comedy is
What
just
it is.
so hilarious. And it's so much more outrageous than everything else.
And it kind of makes you like think like, oh crap, that's what people like. Because you get people to say such hilariously horrible things. Like it kind of makes comedy out of people's kind of hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
Really.
good because it's like we have so much hate in the world, and people tend to just go like, "There's hate in the world. I'm gonna go pout about it now."
It really shows it.
But I think it just shines light on it while doing one of the most awesome things humans can do, laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just awesome.
I wonder what the evolutionary reasoning is for laughing, because like,
It's a social thing. I really looked that up. It's a social thing. So if you because if people just start randomly laughing, it makes you laugh. It's because it's a social cue.
Interesting.
Now, I don't understand entirely why people like laugh alone, but I think you also get the same feeling as if you're in a group. Like you get like a social feeling when you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how to describe it.
This is why you have a social feeling. Don't you know that when you have social feelings, this happens? It's so interesting. Like people who don't understand social cues. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. But like, I think that's really interesting about humans is that we have the capability to understand what people want us to do.
Yeah, and
Without
and
communication.
we kind of look at people that have because I believe it's an autism. Autism is the ability to not fully understand social cues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that because it's very interesting the fact that people seem to like because if someone's very high on the spectrum or even really high, you can tell people can tell very easily, and it's I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Don't I'm not even trying to imply that. I'm just saying that I think it's a very interesting thing about humans that humans social cues have become so ingrained in our society that even someone slightly on the spectrum, it's not even awkward. You can just tell already, just because of how ingrained social cues are in society. It just shows the complexity of humans.
Yeah.
Like humans are so complex that even a slight variation of the ability to tell complex social cues, people can notice it and be like, "Oh, I noticed that."
Mm-hmm.
Humans are very intelligent animals.
Yes. We are really intelligent.
We're very smart.
I just want everyone to know humans are smart. It is true though. We are really intelligent. And I just think it's so fascinating. I was watching this video and it was talking about like the amount of time humans have existed. And it's like if there was a 24-hour clock.
Oh yeah, we'd be like the last 3 seconds.
Yeah, we'd be like 3 seconds. Like holy shit. We are like nothing. And the planet is just brand new.
In modern society is like a fourth or a fifth of a second.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, it's all. I just think it's so interesting how like humans can have a plan or have an idea about what's going to happen in the future, and then stuff like the internet just happens. It's like, oh, this is all changed.
That changes everything.
It does though. I mean, the
Yeah.
internet changes everything.
It really does.
Everything.
It really does. I think the best part about the way technology works is that it's like technology doesn't increase at a steady pace. Like every time technology gets better, the speed that technology gets better gets better. So you have this never-ending, perpetuating cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's awesome.
Technology is great. Sometimes we
Yeah. Because like you see, like it used to be, technology was at a crawl, then it picks up and picks up and picks up, and the pace just skyrockets.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing the more technological development in a decade than we would see in 100 years back in a really far long ago.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. Like, I just love how I thought it was so fascinating. So me and Neil, we live kind of close to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia Art Museum is really fascinating to go into. And I was looking at like they have this whole exhibit about like armor, like ancient armor and like swords and stuff, and it was like 1,000-year difference between this one sword and the other sword, and it was only like essentially a minute difference in the technology. And it's like 1,000 years ago from now to 1,000 years now is like tremendous. Even 200 years to 200 years ago is just
And
tremendous.
a decade ago, technology was so different.
Absolutely. It's like not even comparable.
I don't think the internet. When did the internet? Because even when the internet was made, it still wasn't anything compared to how it is now.
No, not
YouTube was made in 2005, right?
even.
And even when it came out, it was still a dating website.
Mm-hmm.
It took like a little while for it to come into its own. But Dylan, when you and I were born, it was before YouTube existed.
No, that's crazy.
It's so hard to imagine my life without the huge knowledge banks, entertainment banks, and just general anything cache of knowledge and entertainment and anything on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know. YouTube just has so much. It has a vast
Array of content.
Yeah, I mean, you can find literally anything.
Yeah.
You can learn so much from
That
YouTube.
was all put there, Dylan. That was all put there. That was all put there before we were after we were born.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Anything that you watch on YouTube, anything, no matter how weird it looks or how old it was, that was made before you were born. No matter what. Anything on YouTube was made before you were born. Sorry, after. Anything on YouTube.
That vast wealth was created like while I was alive.
Yeah, all of that wealth of content and knowledge and entertainment was created before, after we're already existing. And Dylan and I'm only 15, he's only 16.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
Yeah.
How old is it now? 13 years old? That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and just imagine how primitive books were 13 years after they were created. Like, just imagine technology. But seriously, though, I mean, like, for the original printing press, you had to do every single sheet by hand and put in all the letters by hand. Like, it's not like much changed after that for 13 years. I mean, it took a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Till we actually got to print. Like, I wonder what it's going to be like 100 years from now. I mean, just knowing how powerful the internet is already.
If we survive.
Yeah, if we survive. Yeah,
That's the thing scary about the future. Because as technology progresses, we're seeing global carbon emissions and greenhouse gases also progress. And global warming is getting really, really bad. And
we're just fucking up, man.
Yeah, it's coming soon where this place is going to get pretty bad. So we kind of need to evacuate Earth, to be honest. Like,
that'd be cool.
Not like everyone, because that's not going to work, but like enough people to have a viable population.
I just think it's so cool. Like, I was talking to my dad, and like, it's crazy that in his lifetime, there's a relatively high chance that there would be people permanently living on Mars.
Yeah,
I mean, almost certainly in my lifetime, and almost pretty certain in his lifetime too.
yeah, and if it isn't within you and I, our lifetime, Dylan, we might be fucked as a species.
Oh yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah,
But
but you know what? We had a good run.
I think what's gonna happen is people. I think the big businessmen are gonna figure out that they're gonna stop making money if the Earth doesn't exist. So they might as well figure out a way for us to get off of here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
who knows? Maybe that's what Elon Musk
Like
is
a-
getting at with SpaceX.
Yes.
Maybe he does. Maybe he isn't just into the idea, or maybe he just the only reason maybe SpaceX actually isn't profitable at all, and he just fakes the money. And the only reason he's into SpaceX is because he wants to make Teslas on the moon.
That's what I think is funny is look, I just thought about this now. The whole problem with like the idea like the what is it called? I can't think of what the hell is this? What's that? It's a very cult classic movie, and they just rebooted it.
I don't know.
I can't think of it.
It.
No.
No.
Never mind, I can't think of it. But it's like a whole space movie. I'm really pissed myself. I can't think about it. It's a whole space movie.
Alien.
No, but it's tied to Alien.
What are you talking about?
Oh God, I can't think of it. I guess it kind of could be like Alien, but like these big companies where all the poor people just die and live on Earth. It's like, you know, if all the poor people die on Earth, the rich people aren't gonna have anything to sell to people, or aren't gonna have anything to make money from. It's like, I don't think rich people want that because then they make no more
Well,
money.
all of them could consume from each other, couldn't they?
I guess so, but the top 1% of all people, they're not gonna be making
Well,
much money.
you wouldn't be making as much, right? I guess that means, well, at some point they probably just have to cut their, this is assuming we live in like a complete oligarchy, which we do to some extent, but not completely. Now, if, I mean, there comes a point where the rich people are just going to have to cut their losses and stop spending so much money to bring people into space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cut their losses and be like, well, it's going to spend even more money if we get anybody else off of Earth.
Well, I'll be curious how if humans survive or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, we probably won't.
Nobody really interesting. If maybe somehow they were like another group.
I think we're going to be around at least till the 2100s. I think we'll be around at least till the 2100s.
You think?
I mean, I think so. I think it's going to be a lot different. There's going to be a bunch of stuff going on. But I think we'll make it. I mean, war is at an all-time low because, I mean, people see this a lot of this in the news, but an all-time low historically comparing them to historical events because of nuclear weapons,
Mhm.
because of MAD or mutually assured destruction, MAD. Basically, no one really wants to go to war. Big countries don't want to go to war with other big countries.
That makes sense.
And with the age of information, with every single little with the age of information, mixed with the fact that most big countries aren't warring with other big countries, any small conflict gets massive attention over the world, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it used to be
really cool about the internet. Books had a widespread of information, but not even close to the amount of widespread information that the internet can give.
Yeah.
It's not even comparable. Really.
Although I think the depth, like I was saying, so books, I think the depth of storytelling is their strongest thing. Movies and television, I think it's the fact of visual storytelling is their strongest thing, and it makes you feel really immersed.
Mm-hmm.
Internet, that the collective knowledge base of humanity. Need I say more?
Mm-hmm.
Video games, I would say probably the fact that you basically are the person.
Mm-hmm. I think it's whenever I use my phone, like, because I just know myself, like, pretty much if you own a phone, you're probably addicted to it. And I know, but I always think of it, and I know for myself, most likely I'm addicted to my phone. I don't really deny it, but I think most people are. And I'm not
I don't deny it. I think I'm addicted to my phone. I'm normally on it from, when I wake up to when I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. But there's a trait, I think, when you own a phone. It's like
And when
So
I say that, I mean I'm excluding activities that I do, obviously.
well, here's the trade, I think. So you get all your basically privacy and information taken away from you. What you would think instantly is like, oh, well, I'm never making a trade where there's any upside to that at all. But it's like the upside is essentially all of human information from all time. It's like
Yeah,
that's not
because when you
bad.
go on the internet, you are losing a lot of your privacy. It's really creepy if you look into things that Google does. Google's basically Big Brother.
But really, it's not that bad at all. I mean,
I
I
know.
don't
Like,
mind
yeah,
making
you
a
lose
trade.
they lose all your privacy, but I don't really care about my privacy if it's not going to be leaked to the public. It's just going to be in a company's database. Because the reason they collect your information is not because they're malicious. It's just because they want to make money and they want to know how to advertise to you.
Mhm. They just
Yeah,
wanna
if you're
make
doing
money.
something illegal, it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier to catch you. I'm not doing anything illegal, so I don't care.
Mhm.
If you're doing something illegal, it may be a bad deal, but other than that,
I don't really mind using the internet. I don't really mind making that trade.
yeah, me neither.
Trade for me. I get you know, all the knowledge from all of human history.
Yeah,
It's not a big deal.
absolutely.
And
Good deal if you ask me.
but I think people should remember that like it's a trade-off. There's no way oh my god. Like you can't imagine that being on the internet that much that no one will ever find out anything about you and that you have complete privacy. Like it's impossible. It's essentially an oxymoron to say I'm on the internet and I have privacy.
Yeah, exactly.
I
The
just think
internet
you
is
have to-
almost synonymous with publicity.
I think if you use the internet,
Unless you're using like a VPN or Tor.
Mhm. But that makes things so much more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Tor makes it slower. VPNs you have to actually buy. It's very cheap. But if you're gonna do illegal stuff, use Tor or use a VPN. Use a VPN if you're
Wasn't Tor created by the government?
Yes, it was created by the Air Force. So all right, I'm gonna quickly say this because we're probably closing statements now. But so Tor was created by the Air Force to basically be, and I think also CIA, to have kind of like it was basically so they could monitor things on the internet and communicate completely anonymously. But the problem is that they would know that like the way Tor works is like the .onion websites, like websites of Tor. I'm probably butchering this, but I'm trying to generalize here.
The Onion's like the dark web, isn't it?
No, the .onion websites are like websites hosted from servers that are used Tor to broadcast. So, but yes, it is kind of. I don't think I have time to get into the deep web. We should do that sometime though. But
The
so
intellectual dark web.
so we have so the problem was that anybody who was using this .onion stuff, or you could tell that their IP address was being bounced off a bunch of things, could instantly know that they were part of the CIA because they're the only ones using it, right? So to make it secure, they had to make it completely open source and open to everyone. So that's pretty interesting.
Yes, it is.
Like, I know a lot of people like to diss the military, like we spend too much on it, but the military does some very useful things. Tor has been used by people in North Korea in places where the internet is censored to like speak out to journalists.
That is really fascinating. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah. Tor is awesome. And the thing is, I mean, there are bad things like, the dark web, but other than that, I mean, you have this just awesome stuff. Like, you get complete anonymity is really cool. And it's just fascinating how it was made because the Air Force and I don't know if it's Air Force too, but yeah, the CIA, and they had to have other people using it. So basically they could blend into the crowd. So it's very interesting.
Definitely.
So should we move into closing statements now?
Sure.
Yeah, because we have like 4 minutes left. And my phone's about to die. So Dylan, do you want to just say yours really quick?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say that I think this episode was really interesting, even though it wasn't like one of our typical episodes, just 'cause I think it's just awesome how, like we were talking about a lot about the internet and the freedom of information, just how these podcasts can share a lot of information.
Yeah, definitely. I think mine would be, I just want to say something very blanket, like a very blank statement. Humanity does a lot of screwed up stuff. Humanity does so much messed up stuff. Humanity can be really, really messed up, but humanity is also pretty awesome. I guess that's just it I want to do, because I don't know. I just like that statement. But anyway, so thank you everyone for watching. I believe we'll see you next week. So thank you. Actually, let me turn on I haven't turned on my video for a while, because I've been doing stuff, but I'll turn on my video for now. All right, so thank you for watching, everyone, and hopefully next time I'll actually be on video. So thank you for watching Youth Unstructured to the World, and we'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Humanity has been on an epic journey of discovery, learning the truth about the world we live in. New discoveries about the true origins of humanity, ancient history, free energy, as well as the systematic corruption of world governments are now on the forefront of our daily reality. Is the world headed towards destruction based on control and power? Or is an opportunity now being presented to shift and uplift into a higher consciousness? My name is Mel V, co-founder and creative director of Conscious Consumer Network, an independent broadcast network that was launched on the 1st of January 2015. In the last 3 years, Conscious Consumer Network has broadcast over 2,800 shows in multiple languages, featuring guests from across the world, whilst creating media that is aimed at the creation of a free, fair, peaceful, just, sustainable world. Conscious Consumer Network provides full training and an interactive support network for all broadcasters, and we are always looking for inspiring and educational content.
Hi, this is Lainey Liberty.
And this is Miro Siegel.
In 2018, Conscious Consumer Network has expanded to multiple broadcast locations, increasing our availability and reach across the world, remaining on the cutting edge of independent media. If we wish to create a better world, we must first create better media, geared towards real education instead of indoctrination.
You guys really are what changing the world is going to be about. It's educating kids at a grassroots level.
Having become a pillar of stability in the turbulent world of independent media, we have even more going on in 2018. Conscious Consumer Network is a publicly funded network, and we rely on all of you to keep us on the air. Show your support for independent media by donating to our 2018 Network Support Fund. Dare to seek a better world. Support independent media.